The lame duck session kicks off tomorrow, but there's one issue at the top of everyone's list.
Bush tax cuts.
Bush tax cuts.
Bush tax cuts.
Bush tax cuts.
Tax cuts.
Tax cuts.
It's too bad they call them the Bush tax cuts. They might have a better chance of being extended if they were the Lauer tax cuts.
Does the president rule out a temporary extension for several years of all the tax cuts?
Chris, I'm not going to negotiate with you on this program. I'm not going to negotiate that with you here. There have been a lot of formulations thrown out.
Bottom line, he's open to compromise. Is that fair?
The bottom line is he wants to sit down and talk about this.
2 or 3 year extension of all the tax cuts you'd be on board for.
If that's all we could get out of the president, and he is the president, so we'll work with him on that.
If that's all we can get, that's better than nothing. But I think the more permanent, the better.
The problem with the 2-year extension is I'm new in the Senate, but most of these temporary extensions have a tendency to end up becoming permanent.
What if we moved it up to $1 million? Everyone below $1 million will get a tax cut, but the millionaires and billionaires won't.
We don't need to raise taxes on anyone during a fragile economic recovery like this.
So I say, how can we use dollar for dollar the revenue we'd take for a 2-year extension on the top 2%, and instead use it for targeted business tax cuts?
We need to remind everyone that we're not talking about cutting taxes. We're talking about keeping current tax rates the same.
The cost of permanently extending just the upper end Bush tax cut, the 75-year cost of that is just about identical to the 75-year accounting shortfall of Social Security. So we've got people who are saying, oh, Social Security, we've got to do something, but let's extend those tax cuts for rich people. This is showing how the priorities are all skewed.
Longer term, the problem is spending. You can't think about the concept of taxes until you ask, what is it that you're funding?